Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? Welcome back to For Strategy Gaming. I've got a series of games for you today between OGS's Top and IM's LosirA. We can see right here, Top spawning in the upper right position of Crossfire. Here is our red Terran player, and the blue Zerg player here is LosirA. And yeah, there we go at the bottom left. So yes, we've got a series between Top and LosirA, and before we start, I just need to let you know I'm stressing out. I am stressing the F out. I'm really trying to get a ton of content up for you guys because I am going to be gone for about 3 days in the middle part of this week. So, you know, I'm getting ready. I'm getting everything all set up. I'm getting ready for the trip. You know, getting ready to head out to Blizzard. And then I sit down to record, and StarCraft just starts in the bed. It's not working. The games, nothing's loading. The replays aren't loading, and I can't even talk in full sentences because I'm so frustrated. But now that the game is up, FPS looks smooth. Graphics, as always, set to ultra. Things are feeling pretty good. So let's just keep this train rolling, please. Here we go. OGS Top walling off, and let's keep an eye out on his refineries to see if he decides to go for a standard play build or if he's going to be going for some sort of 1 racks expand, 2 racks pressure expand, anything like that. Now back over here for LosirA, we are of course keeping an eye on the pool extractor. There is the pool, dropping that at 14, and then immediately after dropping that extractor. So LosirA starting things off here on 1 base. Crossfire is a really cool map. If you haven't seen it, well, you're going to get a good look this game. But it's just pretty interesting. I would say, you know, relatively small. Obviously, not a lot of horizontal space to move. Vertically, it is of a decent height. But anyways, the point is that there's just really a whole bunch of winding corridors right down the center. Not a lot of room on the sides, obviously, as mentioned. But the point behind that being is that LosirA could possibly have been worried about some early aggression. Now back over here, looking inside of top space, we can see he's looking to be pretty standard, and I think that wall off should be complete right now, and he actually will be heading out with that first Marine. With that, though, he should be able to kill off the drone, depending on if LosirA is paying attention. And no, he is not. LosirA gets that drone killed. Unfortunately, wasn't paying quite enough attention to it. So with some decent micro, Top was able to drop that very, very quickly. And looks like OGS Top has managed to keep his SCV alive. So we'll just be dancing around with that. Now, we've got those first 4 Zerglings here, and LosirA should be moving out with his expansion sometime soon. Nope, never mind. He's not. There's a Roach Warren. So LosirA, some very strong early aggression. There is the obviously that metabolic boost there as well. So we will be seeing a strong Roach push, and then following that up with a ton of Zerglings. That's what is expected here from LosirA, and I'm very interested to see that, you know, that was his decision. I want to see how well that is going to do. Now, taking a look over here, it looks like Top will be going with some Hellion opening. We can see that factory just about finished, and I expect that to be dropped right on that racks. Now, with that said, did he scout that out? Oh, there it is. There it is. The scout. He scouted the lack of expansion, scouted the Roach Warren. We can see there dropping down the bunker. He'll be placing down a bunker over here as well. So right now, Top is getting prepared. And as such, look at that. Instead of going for that Hellion opening, he is responding to scouting information. And this is one of the most important things you can do in StarCraft. We will be seeing right now some tanks coming out and those double Marines to fill up those medevacs. Obviously, those Marines are not very strong against the Roach, but it doesn't matter. Very nice play, though. Unfortunately for LosirA, he wasn't able to stop that scout from getting into his base, and right now Top is looking pretty good because of that. He will be adequately prepared. He knows this is coming, and LosirA deciding might want to curb back on the aggression just a little bit, given the fact that he knows that Top scouted that out. So there you go. Great scout there by Top. Good response there as well, coming out with this bunker and changing up what was his likely plan. The Hellion opening, very common, so that was very likely what he was intending on doing, but seeing that pressure, he decided, I need Marines, throw them in a bunker, get some tanks as well to deal with those Roaches. Now, here's the trick, though. It's not coming. The Roach aggression isn't coming as expected. It would have came had Top not scouted it, but because LosirA knows Top scouted it, he decided to not do that and expand. And from this point forward, Top needs to realize that so he can transition to more normal play. He doesn't need to defend himself at this point. He is pretty comfortable. Top, thinking that that might be the case, given the fact that the Roach Speedling push hasn't come yet, we can see he has dropped off that expansion. We do have a starport building out a Banshee right now, and then looks like another tech lab will be placed on that factory to continue things up here with that tank production.
Momentary supply block, that should be alleviated soon. Would also like to see another Rax so that he may get some upgrades there for that bio army, getting some stim pack, combat shield, and all of that. Now back over here, LosirA is working his way up right now. We do have another queen coming up, so he will be sitting on 3 queens, one of which looks to be used to start that creep spread. Most certainly that is going to be strong. Also possibly wanting 3 queens to deal with any sort of aggression that may be coming. And as we see here, it looks like we will be seeing cloaked banshees. In fact, he just did start that cloak research. I will be poking out with a few of these Marines, get a couple of free Zergling kills, at least the one there, and the other Zergling does manage to scurry back home. Now we've got a couple spawning overlords here, kind of in, actually this one's fairly safe, and this one is in a little bit of a dangerous position, although those Marines do have to go kind of in a roundabout way, and this is what I was talking about on this map. There's so many winding corridors all over the place. It is fairly interesting. Crossfire, certainly a favorite of mine, I'd have to say. I have a lot of favorites. Here we go, Banshee moving out right now for top. Starts to get these kills. It is, of course, 2 shots for these drones. So we got 2 kills already. Here comes a third, and we'll be trying to target fire down a few more. We do have those 2 queens pushing forward, and this, of course, is what they're going to be very good at doing, is pushing back any of these early game banshees. When they're in low numbers, those queens certainly do very well against them. Now, we do have an evolution chamber coming out. The Baneling Nest did just pop right now. We'll be interested to see what LosirA decides to do. Obviously, his initial plan was that roach push. That didn't end up happening, so let's see what his follow-up looks to be. Possibly the Speedling Baneling throwing in some roaches there as well, but a few more kills here, and right now sitting with the 5. Cloak research did just go down, and we have got 0 cloak detection right now for LosirA, so LosirA is in a very tough position. These banshees will start going to town. They do have 1 queen kill already. Here comes a second queen kill. We've got 1 spore crawler coming up here in the main. Another spore crawler is being placed over here at that natural expansion. He's just going straight for those queens though, ignoring the crawler. Losing these queens is pretty devastating for LosirA, so that's why top is focused on there. Those spore crawlers up, so time to push back, taking a few shots there. Wants to get a few more of these drone kills with some micro. He can, of course, stay away from that. The queen looking to be in danger, and the biggest thing right now, in all honesty, is top with all this harassment. He's going to get the other queen. Yes, he does. Queen gets dropped, and this harassment's so devastating. But one of the biggest things about what's happening right now is top is buying himself plenty of time to macro up, get his expansion up and saturated, and just keep churning out units. So very, very nice play here by top. The 2 banshees still alive. They're going to get another queen kill. Let's take a look at this. How lopsided can you be? Almost 2,000 resources lost now for LosirA, and only 350 for top. So top, that obviously paid off quite well for him, and he could be moving in for a secondary Banshee attack sometime soon as well. He will be accumulating a little bit of energy, but so devastating right now. LosirA is so far behind top, and top's certainly feeling comfortable at this point in the game. And look at this macro, exactly, so much coming out. Upgrades, new buildings, churning out those units as well. And that expansion again is up and getting nice and saturated, coming out with these double refinery. And yeah, well, he's sitting pretty racks heavy. He's actually got a lot of production buildings for just 1 base. He might be looking to grab another expansion soon, but that's a bit much. 2 factories, 5 racks, and a starport. He can't really constantly churn units out of that, just because he won't really have the resources necessary. But who am I to judge? Here we go, Speedling attack coming forward. We have two tanks sieged up, but these Speedlings managing to move on in and do quite a bit of damage. 1 unsieged tank certainly didn't help that, and look at that, tearing through all of the tanks. We've got the Marines right now. Unfortunately though, without that stim pack, the stim pack research isn't finished. Now the Banshees will mop up those Marines, but that certainly helped. I mean, look at that. Did manage to put top behind a little bit. LosirA is still much further behind top at this moment in the game, but still, he got rid of a bulk of top's army, losing those 3 tanks and losing a ton of Marines as well. Not having stim there was pretty terrible in all honesty, but as we saw, top was trying to do just a ton of stuff at once, and that's part of the reason, maybe that argument against trying to make these many production buildings, that did delay the fact that that did delay his stim pack research, because he dumped so many resources into another factory and a bunch more racks and tech labs and everything else. So yeah, it just goes to show you, not always the best idea. But anyways, yes, we do have another expansion looks to be coming out, or Or is that just a scout? No, it looks to be just a scout, in fact. At the same time, we do have those Banshees moving across the map. They are looking for additional expansions, and that is assumedly what the SCV is trying to do as well. Here we go, those Cloak Banshees move forward. We'll be trying to get another Queen kill. Oh, is in with the Cloak detection, is within the range of the Cloak detection of that Spore Crawler, and finally within the range of the attack of that Spore Crawler as well. We've got another Spore Crawler moving on down, and he should just be trying to stay away from that and do as much damage as possible. We've got a nice spread here of these spores. Very nice play by LosirA. It's exactly what he needs to do because he is certainly quite far behind, but at the same time, again, that was a nice counterattack with those speedlings, and Top, as mentioned, lost a bulk of his army. Now these Banshees will be continuing to go to town over here, and again, just trying to get these kills of these drones whenever possible. Try to pick off a few of these Queens as well, and this Queen's looking pretty vulnerable. They're going to be going within the Cloak detection range of that Spore, but it doesn't matter. The Queen does get taken out, and LosirA has lost so many Queens. We've got a few more speedlings coming out, the centrifugal hooks as well, trying to keep those that Queen production up because he does need something more to deal with this. Clearly, he's been getting basically worked by those. We've got a few medevacs, a ton of Marines, combat shield and stim pack is up. The level 1 upgrade just about finished, and 3 tanks. Now we do have a nice positioning here over here by LosirA, and this is going to help him deal with this. He's going to be trying to converge from both angles. Got a ton of Banelings coming on through as well. The Speedlings are in fact moving for a counterattack right now. On Top is in a little bit of trouble because that is too many Speedlings for him to deal with. We'll be getting surrounded there, losing those Marines and those tanks. Some Speedlings streaming up into the main as well at the same time. Here we go. Top is setting up position outside LosirA's base. He needs to push forward and do some damage to those Speedlings inside of the main. We've got a rally here of Marines, and that should be able to do a lot of damage, but those Speedlings with that full surround managing to take out those Marines very quickly. SCV's moving forward to engage, and again at the same time, here comes a push from Top, setting up guys on the high ground. We've got a tank here on the low ground as well. A couple Marines up here to protect it. Here comes the Banelings rolling on in, taking out the Marines and doing a lot of damage to the tank. We've got some Marines back though. Top should be able to continue up this push, and it looks like at the same time took care of these Zerglings in his main. And there we go, LosirA calling the GG. LosirA was planning to open up this game with some one-base Roach Speedling aggression. Now, in scouting that, Top responded accordingly. We're going to see him come down with a bunker at the front, and what was looking to be likely starting out with some Hellions as a pretty standard opener, instead turned into Marine reactored barracks over here and tank production in order to defend the early push. That early push never came though. LosirA, realizing that he was scouted, decided to just expand instead. Moved out with Cloaked Banshees and was able to do quite a bit of damage. He killed off a multitude of Queens for LosirA and managed to kill a few drones as well. Now we see LosirA trying to come down with the Spore Crawlers in his resource line, but it wasn't quite enough, and Top was in LosirA's base for quite some time. Top then worked to macro up, getting upgrades and churning out a lot of production buildings, and we saw a nice timing counterattack for LosirA, taking advantage of the fact that Top didn't have stim pack. He's going to be able to swoop on in here and kill off a lot of what Top had. We saw the big final push from Top at around 16 minutes in game time. At the same time, there was a counterattack with Speedlings for LosirA, but LosirA didn't quite have the forces to do enough damage to Top and was forced to call the good game. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you have enjoyed this commentary. As always, if you like the content, please subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned for game number 2 between Top and LosirA in just one moment. And as always, guys, keep watching and keep owning.